This video is one that I never thought I was going to have to make. This video is my announcement to you that I have officially been terminated from my position at the Columbus Division of Police. I was fired from my job as a police officer because of this YouTube channel. We'll go into a little bit more detail about what I was fired for here in a little bit, but I just want to say it's not something that people get fired for, and I'm 100% positive I will get my job back. The problem with that is it's going to take approximately 9 to 12 months for that process to play out, and in the meantime, I need some help. I need help paying my mortgage and putting food on the table for my wife and my 2 daughters, ages 11 and 13. Hopefully, this channel that ended up getting me fired from my job is also going to be the thing that helps me provide for them while I fight to get my job back. As of today, I have monetized the YouTube channel, and I've opened it up for channel memberships with some benefits I'll go over here in a little bit, as well as I'm linking my personal PayPal account in the description of this video and all future videos, and I'm going to ask that you help me pay my bills. I think it's also important in this video to kind of talk about how we got here, because this has been a long road. I've been running this channel for 5 years. I started it in the summer of 2020. Everybody should remember what was going on in the summer of 20. That was known as the Summer of Love. That's when the George Floyd protests took over every major city in America, including the city of Columbus. And a lot of the politicians in the city of Columbus used that, or began using that, as an opportunity to take over control of the police department. And one of the ways they were taking control of the police department is by spreading a lot of false information about the officers, saying that they were bad, they were corrupt, they were racist, and they were using that to garner support for their position, to say that the police department needed drastic reform, and that way they could seize control of the police department. Because this police reform movement that started in 2020 has never been about reform. It's always been about control, because the politicians want to control the police department, because if you can control the police department, you can control the population. One of the things that happened that summer, there's 2 major things that happened that caused me to start this YouTube channel. One of the things that happened was that the city of Columbus, the mayor's office itself, actually took over all the social media accounts for the Columbus Division of Police. They were not allowing the people in the public information office, the sergeants, the supervisors, anybody, to post anything on the division's social media that would defend the officers from a lot of these false accusations that were going out. We'd heard the rumors about this, but I didn't know it for sure until one night. I was working down on 19 Precinct in the Hilltop, and right at 11 o'clock during roll call, a shooting went out at what turned out to be a drug house. We heard the alert tone go out. We all ran to our cruisers. We didn't have time to grab our equipment. We drove lights and sirens to the shooting, and when we arrived on scene, there was a man laying in the alley with a bullet wound in his chest. This was a robbery attempt at a drug house. One of the officers on scene used to be a firefighter paramedic. He ran to the vehicle, used the standard first aid kit that was in the vehicle, and was able to put a chest seal on this man. And it probably took paramedics 5 minutes or longer to arrive on scene. And when they did, the battalion chief went to my supervisor, said, "Hey, your guys did an amazing job applying that chest seal to this man. You 100% saved his life. If your officers didn't do that, this man would have died." So my supervisor said, "Thank you, sir." And then at the end of the night, before he went home, he sent an email up the chain of command. Said, "Hey, we had an excellent interaction with the citizens last night." This was in probably late June of 2020 when the riots were still in full force. And he said, I know that the police department needs some positive promotion or some good news, showing some good things that police officers are doing in the community. I think this would be a fantastic example. Let's put this on YouTube and Facebook and everywhere else so that the citizens can see the lengths that the officers are going to save members of their community. And when he sent that request up, it was denied per the mayor's office, because the mayor's office during that time didn't want anybody promoting anything that would make the officers of the Columbus Police Department look like they were compassionate, caring, and professional officers. One of the other things that happened during that time was that the person who was running a lot of the social media accounts was actually being pushed out. The reason she was being pushed out was because, and this is the quote that I heard, she was sharing too much pro-police propaganda on the division's social media. You hire somebody to run your social media accounts to make you look good, and then you force them out because they're doing too much stuff to make you look good. That is the environment that we were in when I started this YouTube channel. So I said, hey, you know what? When I'm off duty, I'm a private citizen. Any private citizen can make a records request, and there's nothing stopping the division of police, the city, or the mayor from putting that information up online. So I started the YouTube channel. I started the YouTube channel, and I started requesting incidents that I knew the city didn't want people to see. Incidents with people suffering from mental illness being treated with dignity and respect by police officers. Officers interacting with drug addicts on the street and treating them as human beings. Taking a pregnant woman out for a meal on the way to rehab. That was a video of mine and that incident actually happened almost 2 years before I started the YouTube channel. I did that with no intention of anyone in the world ever finding out about it. But when I started the YouTube channel, I remembered that incident. I searched for it, I found it, and I put it up because that is the type of thing that our police officers are doing on a daily basis. And those are the things that the world needs to see, not this garbage that all cops are bad. That's the kind of stuff that the city and the mayor were pushing. He was pushing that false narrative because he wanted to take control of the police department. He even said at one point in time to the FOP, you can either, or to the officers of the Fraternal Order of Police, you can either support the FOP, but you're against the citizens of Columbus. That's what he said. You can't possibly be more divisive than that. So I started posting these positive interactions with police officers, and you might be surprised to find out that the city of Columbus was not very happy with the fact that I was doing that. Then fast forward a couple of years, and I'll go ahead and put the thumbnail up on the screen now. This is the video that really got the attention of the politicians in the city of Columbus. This is the video where I demonstrated that the Department of Inspector General, the Inspector General herself, and the Civilian Review Board have an incredible anti-police bias to the extent that they're willing to lie about police officers on official reports in order to charge them with bias-based profiling. If you remember the video, it's one where an investigator with the Office of Inspector General wrote an official report, and he said that a young man was black rather than white because he wanted that narrative to be able to push out there to say that police officers are stopping black teens for nothing more than wearing a hoodie while walking to the store, when the reality of that situation was that the teenager was never stopped and he was white, and the officer had good reason to try to talk to this kid. When I made that video, I 100% became a target of the city of Columbus. I even have a clip from the office, or from the Inspector General herself. It was on April the 2nd, 2024. She actually announced publicly that they're looking for a way to shut down my social media.
Thank you for that. And so you had mentioned that there's been kind of statements on social media and others about individual investigators maybe you don't have to elaborate too much on that, but could you maybe explain in the sense of, I don't know, in terms of whether the city, how you handle that as your office aside, there's this approach. Is there other efforts being made in terms of just getting clarity over the office and what's happening in terms of maybe statements that are made on social media?
The thing that I can tell you is that anything that's made on social media, we are aware of it and we do monitor it. But unless the comments or things that are made on social media is something that affects a policy or procedure, at this point, it's nothing that we can do about it. But we are aware, we are monitoring it, and then if there becomes something that we're able to do, we will make sure that we can do something. We have actually also talked with the attorney's office to see if there's some other avenues in which we can pursue. But at this point in time, we feel the best way to pursue that is to remove the investigator's name from the report to kind of provide that layer of protection of their name and face being brought out there.
So there you have it, from the face of the Inspector General herself with a smile on her face. She said, we've actually contacted the city attorney's office to see if there's another way to shut this stuff down. What she was talking about is shutting down my ability to make comments that are critical about her and other public officials. The reason that they are trying to find a way to shut me down is because just prior to this, the city of Columbus had enacted this policy. I'll put it on the screen now. It was known as the External Communications Policy. And this policy 100% was put into place in order to scare police officers and firefighters from speaking publicly about things that they have seen with their own eyes. This was a policy that said a police officer or a firefighter could face discipline if he said anything negative about a city elected official, whether that comment be in a personal text message, email, or on social media. They enacted that policy knowing full well it's a violation of the First Amendment. They got frustrated when they realized that that policy is not enforceable, so they started looking for another reason to shut me down. Now, I've been doing this, like I said before, for about 5 years, and I've been very careful to make sure that I follow all the rules, regulations, and laws. Unfortunately, recently, I made a mistake and I violated a policy. The policy that I violated is not something that we fire officers for. I'll go into much more detail on that in a separate video, but it's an administrative policy. I don't want to get too deep into the weeds on it, but I will say that I recently had a hearing with the chief regarding my violation of policy, where I got to explain to her exactly what happened and how I did it and how everything came about. And prior to going to that hearing, I was served with some paperwork. The paperwork that I was served with had a bunch of comparable disciplines, people who have done similar things before and what their discipline was. And the lieutenant that handed me the paperwork even pointed out, he said, "Oh, look, they did not put cause for termination on here, so that's a good thing. You're looking at a suspension, and then we'll get you back to work as soon as possible." I went to that hearing, and then 3 weeks later, I was terminated. I was told that what I did is not something that we terminate officers for, but the chief took it upon herself to recommend termination. The reason they're terminating me is because they're angry about all of the things that I've said publicly. This is 100% a case of First Amendment retaliation. Like I said before, I am 100% positive because of this, I will be getting my job back. That process takes 9 to 12 months. Once that process concludes, I am going to very, very strongly pursue a federal civil rights lawsuit against the city of Columbus for violating my civil rights. In the meantime, as I always also said before, I need some help financially. I need some help providing to pay for my mortgage and help put food on the table for my wife and kids. Hopefully, this channel is going to be the way that I can do that with your support. I created this channel, and we as a community have done an amazing job showing that the officers of the Columbus Division of Police are amazing people, and showing the city of Columbus that their efforts to tarnish the reputation of these officers has failed. We need to prove to them once again that they once again have failed. And that failure is going to be their attempt to make this as difficult as possible on me. That's where you come in. I've created a couple of opportunities for you to support me so that we can make this as easy of a transition as possible. And with your support, I don't know, I would be eternally grateful. So the things that I've done, the two things that you can do to help support me as I go throughout this process. The first thing is I went ahead and created channel memberships and tiers for channel memberships. This is a thing where if you agree to become a member of the channel, I get 70% of those funds. YouTube takes 30% of those funds. But in return, you get some perks from the channel. The first perk on the lowest tier of channel membership is that you get a loyalty badge on your name, and you're more likely for me to reply to your comments. I might even start a thing where I only reply to member comments. You know, that would be a benefit of you becoming a member. That way your comments don't get lost in the fray with some of these videos that have hundreds, if not thousands of comments. The next tier is going to be for $10. That gets you the previous thing. Plus also, there's going to be some members only live streams. These are going to be live streams that if you're not a member at that level, you won't be able to participate in, which also should mean it's a smaller group of people, a little bit more quaint, and we can have some actual conversations on the live streams where I might go over police incidents, just answer your general questions, just hang out and talk, have a little bit of bourbon. That should be a good time and a good benefit to the members of the channel. The third tier is going to be at the you'll see the names on the screen. It's police recruit, field training officer, and then commander. If you join at the commander level, you'll actually have access to all of my content, and you'll have access to the videos before anybody else does. I'll probably put it so that members or at this level get to see the video a day or two before everybody else. Maybe even as soon as I upload them and schedule them for release, you'll be able to see them. So those would be the benefits of becoming a member of this channel and helping to support me financially. If you would like to support me financially, but are not interested in becoming a member of the channel on YouTube because you don't want 30% of your money to go to YouTube and you don't spend a lot of time here for those things, I'm also going to put a link in the description of this video to my personal PayPal account. You can go to my personal PayPal account and donate any amount of money that you would like. One thing that I am going to ask is that I don't know, pick a small dollar amount, maybe $10, and have it renew every month. That way I can have some sort of predictability of my income, because over the next couple of months is when we're really going to find out whether or not this is going to be successful. You know, I've done all of this for the last 5 years, and you guys have supported me and you've cheered me on and told me to keep going, never stop speaking the truth, never stop speaking truth to power, and challenging the authority that I believe is tyrannical in my local government. The reason I've been doing this is because this is important to me. It's important to the citizens of Columbus. It's important to the overall safety of my community. I'm willing to put myself out there on the line in order to accomplish this goal. But now I need your help. I need a little bit of financial support from you to be able to continue this process so that all of the things that I've done for everybody else don't now come back and have a negative effect on my wife and my children. Honestly, that's my biggest fear in this whole thing. I think that's going to be it for this video. I appreciate all of your time. I appreciate your support in this matter. I'll be back soon with another video. Thank you.